Welcome everyone to the Tactical Tavern. I'm your host Tomas Alas, and in this video I'm excited because we are checking out the Titanium Deflater from Shomer Tec. This has to be one of the nastiest tools that we have seen here on the channel, so I'm excited to get into the specifications, the pros and the cons in order to help you decide if it's right for you. Make sure you watch all the way through because we're going to be testing this out on an actual car tire. With that being said, let's stab into it. I was recently talking to my friend about some of the most effective self-defense tools, and point-driven options seem to be the best. The conversation started while we were checking out some more non-permissive environment tools like the carbon fiber ventilator pen, and then he said they make a titanium version. So I had to get one. This thing gives me the heebie-jeebies looking at it. This thing is wicked. This right here is the Titanium Deflater. Now, originally, this was designed as a covert operative tool in the 90s to be able to deflate enemy vehicles and open up any soft-skinned canisters like a gas tank to eliminate their fuel supply. This tool comes in with an overall length of 7.5 inches, comprised of a titanium tube that is hollow with a hypodermic needle point. The titanium tube comes in at 0.25 inches, and the diameter is nice, but it is ground at an angle that allows it to have some slashing capabilities. And I mean this in like a personal defense situation. You can pop, break, snap down into the package that you're trying to open. Taking a close look at the tip, it has that hypodermic needle point, which is just nasty. I mean, this thing is very effective at leaking liquids, if you get what I'm saying. As we work our way down the shaft, there is a plastic handle here, and you'll notice some grooves cut out, which do help increase the traction. And I like this because if your hands do get slippery, it kind of aids in helping you maintain the tool. That being said, you can always increase that if you want to wrap some tape around there, grip tape, hockey tape, goon tape, whatever you want to give you a little bit more grip on your tool. There's also an additional opening hole here that has a pin driven through there, which I believe is titanium. So that way it secures and locks the handle on, but it still allows gas and liquid to escape out of the tube. Going into the testing, I had a pretty high confidence that this was easily going to be able to puncture a tire on the side, not so much on the top center area. However, I wanted to know what the sound was going to be like. Is it going to be a really loud hiss? Is it going to be a pop? Do you have to remove your thumb, or can you pull it out? Is it going to get stuck? So these are the questions that I wanted to have answered and hopefully get some value from these tests. So I found a tire and we gave it a go. Initially, I wanted to maximize the pressure of the strike. So I capped my thumb on there, popped it into the tire. It was relatively effortless on the side of the tire, and no air was escaping until I released my thumb. There was a slight hiss. It wasn't extremely loud, but it could be noticeable if you were close to the vehicle. You're obviously not going to know if you were a couple yards away. Extracting it out of the tire was pretty easy. There was some pressure that came around, but because there's no ridges or carbonization on the titanium, it was easy to extract. Then I followed up with some repeated thrusting activities, and it did really well. Something I was concerned about was the tube filling up with whatever material that you were thrusting into, and that did occur with some of the tire parts. There was some rubber that was lodged in here. I was able to get it out or ram it through. You can also take a hose and blow it out. But I mean, are you really going to be doing that in the field? Probably not. This is going to be more for a tss and go. So keep that in mind, that it could fill up if you're using this on a multitude of vehicles, but it was still highly effective, even after those multiple stabs, and I got some gunk inside. To simulate a gas tank or some sort of fuel cell, I also tested this out on a metal canister, and it worked flawlessly. The pressure was easy to go in, and as soon as I popped my thumb off of the hole, water started pouring out. And I've really enjoyed extracting it because it is that cylindrical tube, meaning that it's easy to have your follow-up strikes handy. Of course, this can also be used as a personal protection tool. It is super lightweight, coming in at 1.4 ounces. So you can have it on you in a variety of situations. And because it is made out of titanium, it's also not prone to rusting. I answered my initial question of, can it be effective for what it was intended for? And the answer is yes. It also makes a great personal protection tool and an affordable option to some other spikes on the market. But I wanted to take it a step further because of that hollow tube. I was curious to see if it could be used to treat a pneumothorax. Most of the decompression tools and needles that I've seen are pretty small compared to this. So I wanted to get the answer from an ER trauma nurse, and he said, in theory, it could be effective. Now, you obviously have to know what you're doing depending on what intercostal rib you're going into and whatnot, or even down the top shoulder area. I'm not a doctor, so keep that in mind. But if you have the skills and knowledge, I think you could potentially use this as a life-saving tool out in the middle of nowhere. Something that is important to note is that this does not come with a sheath, which kind of surprised me. So I would consider maybe a rubber tube, but I also used a pen cap, which was fairly effective. But even better than that, my friend Peter gave me a leather sleeve. Ideally, if you were in a dire situation, you could make one out of cardboard or duct tape, and you could get creative if you've taken any organic medium classes. But for me, the leather is perfect because it is also non-detectable unless you throw on a metal lanyard. So there are some limitations as to what this can do. I mean, yes, it is a sharpened edge. You could potentially use it to cut something if you had to in a pinch, but ideally this is a puncture tool and a great personal protection option for under $30. At the time of this review, you can find the Titanium Deflater for around $29.99. I'll go ahead and drop some links down below. With all the inflation that we're seeing, this Titanium Deflater certainly makes sense because it comes in at such a great price point. How could you afford to not have one in your kit? I am super curious, so let me know, what are your thoughts on this in the comment section down below? What other ideas could you come up with, like arts and crafts, leatherworking? I'm super curious to see what you think. And if you want something even more discreet and lightweight, check out the carbon fiber ventilator pen as well. If you enjoyed this video or you found value from it, please make sure to drop a like, share with a friend, and subscribe, as well as check out our other social medias at Tactical Tavern. With that being said, my name is Tomas. Thank you again for watching. I'm excited to see you in the next video. And remember, be prepared, be practical, stay tactical.